before we get back to the Brodak fly-in, the Brodak fly-in, in my book anyway, the philosophy of it is that it has to be and should be and always will be fun first. And it's also, there's another underlying thing that we all have a lot of respect for the other events, the other modeling events, and that we all try to enjoy each other's events and appreciate them. The scale guys appreciating the stunt guys, the carrier guys, the control line guys, the RC guys, the helicopter guys, that we all are, in essence, brothers. And this is a couple minutes of footage I shot at the 1996 Nats. This is one of my favorite pieces of footage of the giant RC scale. Now, you're never going to see this footage again. There's a simple reason. AMA holds the RC scale on a different weekend because the jets have become so powerful and so, I guess, dangerous that we never get to see this event anymore. So this was one of the last times, a couple times after this, that I did shoot footage at the RC scale event, and it's really impressive stuff. Okay. Hey, hold on pictures, John.
Who wanted to put your walker cup in the front? Hold on. Put that walker cup in the front right there. Right there. We gotta have a picture with that. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out.
It's only a matter of moments.
Go ahead, didn't get in the car.
I think it's time to adjourn. We're hearing raindrops on our wingtips.
One more.
Last shot, Joe. Raindrops on arrows.
Here we are back at Giant RC. Bob Gildini just made a comment, which we will erase from the tape.
There's not much that beats that.
Is that impressed? They're done flying it, or they're going to fly it again?
And they were giving us
They were flying overhead while we were over there flying. We're about at the end of this tape because the battery's dying.
incredible.
Did they fly the big B-25 yet?
Earlier, I think he's up for a second flight.
Oh, that jet is impressive, huh, Bob?
130. I saw it go in. I looked up just to see it. Two inboard engines went.
Yep. Here's one of the Spitfires. They fly the Spitfire yet?
The electric one?
Oh, this.
That Spitfire there. Watermont is electric.
When did this guy crash? Before?
Yeah.
I saw he was working on it yesterday over at the hangar.
In fact, when I watched him go in, he was behind our tent over there. I couldn't see it with the ground. Man, I'll tell you, I want to listen to this tape one time.
Each one of the numbers. 5 of these are mandatory. That's landing, fly pad, and figure 8. Bar, and then the 5th mandatory is flight realism. The other 5 maneuvers are optional, and they may include things like mechanical types of items such as retractable landing gears, bomb drop, flaps, so forth.
Hey, Bob, how do they control our back? Is there a throttle?
Oh, yeah. They have throttle control. They have some motor control.
What throttles it back?
Fuel. Less fuel, less speed.
Oh, okay.
That was the big hang-up in getting them developed, was a fuel control. Now the German version is even simpler. It runs on JP7, and you can use a hairdryer to spool it up. He's got a big long stick blower. You'll see it, that black thing there. You got to get it turned about 30,000 before it'll finally ignite.
In a few more years, them things will be so easy to develop. I know.
Yeah, it's coming. It's only a matter of time. The B-25's going up now?
No, that one there.
Cessna Vintage. You guys all done over there?
I have one of those Cessnas.
Yeah. I just watched it. Huh? You had 4th? Third.
Yeah, Barron won.
Great.
Barron won.
Second?
Billy was second, I was third.
Congratulations.
Ted was 5th, and Bill Rich was 4th. I remember the Walker Cup thing, you could do one of these jet engines. Yeah, okay, here goes the big Cessna.
bless you, boy. Oh, I'm so glad we're getting some serious stuff. Good to see you. Yeah, B-25, I heard you firing it up. There you go, John. He sure got that down to a scale operation. Can you see it? Yeah, we went on past the other one. Can you see it? No, down on the end of the runway down. We're sitting on the ground. See it under the yellow paint? There you go. There he goes. Gear up. Is no longer with us, of course. One of the greatest flyers of all time, in my opinion. Bob Gildini. We had a great time with Bob Gildini at this NADS, and he flies RC too. And always keep in mind, never get to the point where you can't appreciate other types of modeling. Appreciate everything. I even appreciate model railroading. Appreciate model boats. There's just never a time when modeling isn't something interesting to me. Now, again, we may never see this footage again, and I'm really glad to have it. And as an interesting side note, John DeTavio was my companion at this NATS, and he was a mechanic on a B-25 in World War II, and he just had story after story. That actually was one of all this B-25 stuff. This was one of the routes where my plan for having a B-25 in the future started, and just from footage like this. Interesting stuff. Back to Brodak.
Well, it's a shame we don't have scale. I think they're going to have fun scale tomorrow night. We'll try to get some of the scale, but we really miss having those RC scales around. This is Dave Midgley putting in a practice flight. This is I think his first flight since being here. Dave had a rich setting, so we're going to just bypass his flight. Kent's taking the air filter off, and we're going to try to tonight back at the motel pitch up some props for him, get some more feedback on this. But it's certainly really coming around very, very quickly. Oh, Zambelli just put the half A in. Oh no, they were just going pretty good too. Is it okay, Bob? Bob?
Run. I couldn't get a run. I switched to air fuel. Guess what?
It runs. What a surprise. I didn't get to see this guy up close. Oh, that's cool. Got the little cockpit detail in there and everything?
It works.
Fantastic.
Try it again.
Okay, Cub?
Yep.
All right. Look at that cockpit detail.
Sort of okay.
Sort of okay. We used to call these the no-Ks.
They even run occasionally.
Not that occasionally. Come on, let's see this little puppy go. This guy made a half-A Cardinal. He sent me pictures of it.
Oh, yeah?
I am so impressed. Even the ribs and the tail with it to scale.
For the pop, get hot? No start.
Nah, if Zambelli gets anything, he can get a Ducati started.
Both towards end and a valve.
That's what's wrong with motorcycles nowadays. Anybody can start one.
First Cub I saw run.
Oh, they run good when they run. That flies real nice. Isn't that cool?
Goodbye. Same thing that happened
before. One tad richer, Bob. One tad. How much nitro's in that fuel you're using?
Put 20 in there.
I got some 20 if you want it.
That's probably what it needs.
Yeah.
I'll try it again tomorrow. Got the handle?
I got the 20% if you want a couple tankfuls.
Yeah, it does like nitro.
The little end. We got a Sky Raider going. He's working on the idle here. Oh. West Emmett's favorite plane. Russ has already bought a Sato 72 for the full 4-stroke deal. This is the part where you see if somebody has play in the wheels. When you have tight axles, seems like they never taxi the way they should. Put a little play in the wheels, they taxi fine. Look at that, it's nice. Very nice. Got that wired. Yeah, see, the wheels are not tracking right. All you need to do to cure that is put slop in the wheels. Throw out the hole, the axle hole's a little bigger. It's a done deal. Hey, no pulling the pants down while I'm videotaping. What'd you get? Just a rich run, Dave?
Yeah, it was Richard. Yeah, it was.
You're smart calling it off rather than getting too cute.
It's too bumpy out there.
Yeah.
Screwing around.
No. You know, believe me, you did the right thing.
You get a rich run in the
Nope.
We do need to find a hammer though and get that old knob out. But
I got a hammer.
in your car?
Yeah, right in the car. Go get a hammer and hammer it.
Yeah.
The thing they use it for, they use it to lay out the circle. I don't think Brodak needs it anymore.
Yeah, you out there flying, walking backward.
We need more tip weight. Let's see. Let's evaluate it. First off, the wind is kicked up a bit. It's hard to do this kind of stuff here. And it's needled rich. Now it's on the rich side.
Well, the rounds are good.
I made it rich because I know he took the air filter off. I didn't want to get too cute and have one of these, you know, super lean runs. It's still on the rich side. And the motor's still new. It's not time for a lean run. And if he wasn't caught in this bad of an air, it would be a lot better, you know. So let's just go we'll go in a couple hundred RPM the next flight and see if that's better. See, it's not breaking into a 2-cycle. Needs to go leaner. You hear that, right? You hear that there's no 2-cycle? Okay. So it means you got to go leaner on a needle to start with before you go any further. Boy, the wind is really awful now. I hope he's careful. Well, he's a careful guy. No 2-cycle even in the squares. Means you got to go in on a needle. And you're off the pipe. You don't hear the pipe rattling now? You're so rich. You're down below the pipe's range.
I hear the pipe rattling.
It's muted, that's for sure. You should hear it a lot louder than that. But you know what this is like, even when you have a Tiger 60 and it's this rich. But it's still better if you're going to miss it rich instead of lean. On a new motor, I don't want him to hurt this motor. This is the Nats motor. You got a little 2-cycle there. See, as it's burning off the fuel, it inherently runs leaner and leaner, and then you're into the range now where it's going to have a little motor run. So I want to have that motor run right in the beginning of the flight.
Loose on him up top, I can see it.
It won't get loose when he gets it needled right, though. You know, it's hard to evaluate it. Right now, we got to get some better air than this. But I'm glad that he's getting these flights because I can see other little things. Like the tip weight. We can take care of the tip weight even in this weather. Well, I don't know. I got to see if it can. Let's see what happens in the hourglass. Overhead 8 and hourglass. Whoa, the wind. Whoa. Good catch, Ken. You made the right move, Tyson. It's really bumpy now. No, you can see everything's bumping around here. Well, we got the best part of the day. When you guys first came up here, it was really flyable, but you know what's strange here? It's the opposite by us. What happens just before dark, it gets real nice by us. Up here, just before dark, it blows like a hurricane. All right, we'll talk to him when he comes down. All right, let me see what you got going on here with the props. What we like to have is a Suarez prop, something real close to what Suarez has. Look at this, the sun is here. I can't video from here. I'm going to have to go up there and check these guys out. The other guy didn't get started, or they only just playing here? Oh, they're not even fooling with the other one. Okay. Mike Alomar is going to put a flight in some real bumpy air. He busted a prop before. He's got an APC on here. The Tiger 51. Mike's been here, I think, for every Brodak that I've been to, and I've been told, I think, all but one, all but the first one. Problem is the wind at the end of the day seems to kick up here, which is kind of negative, but what we're going to try to do as soon as we're done here is go down and pitch some props for both Kent and for Dave. It's a kind of a day you can't really do a lot in terms of flying, but you sure can do a lot in terms of figuring out little things that you might want to change trim-wise. Let's see how the APC works. Well, I see the battery light come on, so we're not going to get all of Mike's flight. It's going way too fast anyway. This is a really high-pitch APC prop. So we're going to have to go get batteries. That's the end of that set. Too fast. I want this man to confess. Tell me your name and address, and then we're going to send you to the insane asylum. Holy mackerel. Look at this paint job. Is this beautiful? I sent some of these to Tom to They're putting stunt loose. I don't even want to guess how many rolls of masking tape went into this.
Actually, it's all hand painted almost.
Oh no!
No masking tape.
No masking tape. And the letters, look how they faded in that. Oh my God.
See, I have a little secret. I trace it onto the silk span before I apply the silk span.
Oh, okay.
And then I only have to paint between.
It's like paint by numbers?
Yeah, exactly. Paint by numbers.
Unbelievable work.
Yeah.
Look at this one, Oz. Very, very unique.
I just couldn't see doing that. That drive me crazy.
Believe me, you don't do this without lightly with just thinking about it. You gotta really want to do this.
I love for that.
You bet. That's ours. Omar has just set the world's record for the Brodak fly-in. You're going faster than those combat guys up there.
That's the whole goal. Bring one airplane, fly everywhere.
That's right. Fly combat, right.
Race.
You know what happened if that thing ever broke the lines at that speed, it'd go over to Brodak's shop and fly in a window. Right, so what are you going to do? You're just going to slow the motor down now a little bit?
Slow it down.
Okay. We're going to chip in and buy you a prop wrench, Mike.
Actually, a regular prop wrench would work.
I like Robo Grip.
Yeah?
Alamar Grip. That's going to be our newest tool. Buy it from ProStem Products, Robo Grip.
Bob Vela work.
Why carry all those plug wrenches around with you when you can have Robo Grip?
Hey, Mike. Is that a 6-pitch prop? Will that engine sit there and crack back and forth?
The only other thing I can do is
Try that. Or maybe just a little ahead of that. It's got a lot of wing. It can fly slower.
That's a normal size plane for that engine. That should fly 5.5, 5.4. Yeah, start it barehanded, Mike. That's a good example of set for those among us who have 10 fingers. Wait till this hits him. Is he going to be sorry?
It's only a flying.
Give him the thing, Kent. Give him the thing so he doesn't cut his finger off you.
It's only a.
Well, when you
That
start,
finger could fly off and hit me in the B-25 here, man.
At your age, you've only got a B12 and a half.
You know what they say at Keeper Cow, send bail.
Send bail.
yeah, my charger is dying. Charge it up.
Oh, man, give him a finger protector. Guys, you set a bad example for the handicapped people among us.
Hit it with a bottle of water.
Take your belt off and just smack it.
Fisher Price battery on.
Fisher Price battery.
Yeah, I think mine is.
Toys R Us battery department.
Anybody else has anything?
Mike, you notice the amount of respect you get around here?
Maybe I can get a new set of lines on it.
I don't think so.
Take that Fisher Price battery.
Yay! All right. Come on, Mike. That's what Brodak's is all about. You sit around harassing people. Perfectly, yeah, that's too fast. That's way too fast. Go up and help him set the needle, man. Slow that down. He's going for another rocket ride. You know how you can tell he's got smoke coming out of it now. It's loosening up. There you go, right there. Ah, too much, too much. Larry, help him. Too slow. Up a little bit. We got 9 guys to needle 1 engine. You can run a steam engine with less people in this. Look at these losers. I bet he fried the motor on our last run. He didn't do the motor any good, that's for sure. it now? 5.1? 4.9. That's better. Well, you could fly it at that speed. Yeah, I'll run it. Get that plane in operation and put a pipe motor in. What you said's probably true. He's probably got a 280 Venturi in there. Yeah, it's a 51. Oh, that's a 280 Venturi. I don't know, but it acts like it's under Venturi. It doesn't have a Cooper twin. Yep. That big prop. Yeah, it wants the 2-cycle and that doesn't have the power to do it. Yeah. You know what always worked well on a Tiger 51 for me? A 12.5 Zinger. Stock out of the box, balance it, 12.5 Zinger. When we were running 51s, we somehow once in a while run this at 1 speed. I was doing it. Well, I just hope he's got fuel with real castor oil in it, not No, he's been running it for years like this. Yep. Well, you know what the guy said when he jumped off the Empire State Building, landed 89 stories later? He said, hey, been doing this for a long time, no problem. I was trying to get him to do it, just sit there at the brake. Right at the bottom of the brake point. It was only about 8,200. It's doing that. Yeah, it should be doing that at 9,500. It's under Venturi. Is he a Les Naring, friend of Les's? Boy, that is the ultimate one-speed motor. I guess there's a message here. Yeah. Not sure what the message is, but
we richened it up so.
Well, you guys also spent 4 minutes on the ground.
Yeah, that's right too. Yeah.
Why did that fuel all down this side?
Mike, I wouldn't listen to a thing these guys say. I'd fire them all, including me.
I'd put it back down to the brake on the next flight. It's got plenty of force.
Ken Tyser on another test flight. We're getting a lot of trim flights here, which is absolutely good for Kent, since he needs time on the plane and on the motor. Let's see if he's got the brake. Got the brake. It should be on the low side of the brake. There it is. We're breaking the rounds. Sound okay, Dave?
Yep.
There you go.
Coming on up at the top.
All right, so we can go a little leaner than that even, just a tad leaner.
It's not coming on, it's coming on more like a knife.
Yeah, we want it to be a tad leaner, but you know what? At the end of the flight, it'll be just right. So let's work on this. And all those subscriber videos that show what led up to this, well, I hope some of this is going to be a benefit to somebody. You never know what's going to benefit people. That's why we try to put a variety of things on a video, some of our tremendous expertise. That sure looks okay. And I'm only evaluating the motor. It's sounding nice. Not sounding unhappy at all.
The motor sounds good. Got plenty of time.
guys see the wing banging at all from outside? Go downwind, see if you see a wing banging. Yeah, on the way up, it's yawn. So we can get rid of some of that, that's no problem. The reason you got all that yaw is because it's a 13-inch 3-blade prop. You put a 12-inch, that won't be there. But then you'll lose the drive, so, well, let's see. I got some 12-inch props if he wants to try. Boy, that's coming on nice. Gary, does that sound okay to you? Sound nice? Right in the middle of the flight, it's right on the edge of the cam where it should be. It looks like it's going to be fine. Now let's see the vertical. We want to hear the 2-cycle about 11 o'clock. There you go, 11 o'clock. And you want to hear it 4-cycling here. 2-cycling, 2-cycling, 4-cycling. Okay. That's about as good as I would expect it. And we just did it by ear without a tack. Now he can tack it and get his setting. John Simpson putting up his Cavalier here for a little flight. Looks like the air may be getting better, and this is the best part of Brodak, sitting around trimming each other's planes out, hanging out. The only thing could make this better if the Good Humor truck pulled up and they said free ice cream for everybody. But I'm not holding my breath. John has been known to pull a low bottom once in a while, just to wake up the guys in the peanut stand. But this is what makes Brodak special, is when you can have this. This is quality time that Kent and I and Dave and Mike Alomar, we can help each other. It's hard to do it over the phone. It's easy to do it here. So we have a couple of quality hours. We can really put some of these things to the test. You got some wild control inputs going in on that handle, baby. There's some wild input. Going to be treated to a bomb drop here. He wants the bomb Brodaks. Let's see, he's got the bombs all set up on the Sky Raider.
That's 4. 4 lines. Okay.
What's the other line for?
The bombs.
Oh, the bombs. Is the guy with the B-17 going to be here?
Yes.
All right. He's my man. Mr. Fox 25.
Together in formation.
We got to do some Warbird photo shoots, man. That'll be cool as shit. I think he's going to drop him on Tyser's plane. Bomb drop time. Aren't you supposed to tell the judges when you drop the bombs? There goes one. Oh, they got, hey! They're over in the grass over there somewhere. That lowrider Sky Raider again. We're sitting here giving them a hard time about that it bounces on landing. Hey, man! Here in Mexico, we always put lowrider landing gear on our Sky Raider. Let's make a tune to the bounce of the Sky Raider.
Touch and go, touch and go.
Taxi, 1 full lap. What motor is that? About 30. There you go. There we go. Low rider. I wish you could do that thing like with a bunny hop where the cars jump up in the front. Low rider. Low rider. Boy, that is a wheel alignment king of the universe. Those wheels are saying, you son of a gun. Low rider. Evening comes to a nice cool conclusion here. Cool. It's calmed down and gotten cool, so. Battery, Dave.
Yeah, it falls off. I gotta clip it up again. It's that Fisher Price.
That's dangerous. That could roll into the prop and you'll take your nose off. raindrops coming down here. We may have to get out. No, it's raining now, baby. Gotta get out of the rain. We were in a great flying day. A little rain came, not enough to ruin anything. We're almost at the end of the day anyway. Just going to head out for an early dinner. Have a little bit of maintenance to do in Brodak's shop. Go out of Venturi for Kent, and we'll be all set for tomorrow. Kent is really just having the best of time. He's very fortunate the way this, because he got a lot of the trim off his old plane, so he's really way ahead of the game. Yeah. So start with the numbers that worked over there. Yeah. It's a good way to do it, no matter what plane you have.
Courtesy.
Friday morning, we're getting ready for the contest.
Please try to make sure that you're pointed away from someone and that you're away from other people, so that just so you don't get castor oil all over them.
1 and 2, what are you doing?
I don't know all exactly who helped last night, but when Father Regis got hurt last night, many people stepped up to help him. I've not heard how he is. Has anybody heard?
7 stitches.
7 stitches and doing well?
So far, he's in the lead for stitches.
Was that by injection or can? No, I'm kidding.
He's getting a special award, a needle and thread.
The sewing award.
Crazy glue. So Nikki's going to sew him up.
Again, you guys have to work together.
So, Bill, how much did you get for the camera when you sold it?
This place is to end up being better friends when you leave here than when you got here. Help each other out. Be courteous.
Look at Tom. He's falling asleep.
Work together. Any comments from Carrier? Art? Okay, Carrier is open till 5. When is that, the last takeoff before 5? Okay. And fun scale, where do you want it for static?
We just got a great...
Take the mic, Mayor. Go ahead and take the mic and do the scale now.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning!
Mary! The best we can do?
Mary!
All right. Okay, we've got an action-packed day for you. We're going to do fun scale on Circle 5 back there. We're going to judge the static scores on the deck. So we're not going to have you line them up. So as soon as you put it on the flight deck, it doesn't take the judges that long for fun scale. Does anybody have any questions about fun scale? Anything that I can answer before we move back there? Well, it should be as close to a real airplane as possible, but you have to substantiate that for a couple extra points. So you can show us a t-shirt, like this gentleman here has a nice scale bird on his shirt. If you were flying that airplane, that would work for documentation for your airplane. If you're entered in profile scale and you're not sure that you have the proper documentation for that, you might want to speak to me and change into fun scale. You only have to do 6 maneuvers. It's a good beginner event, so we'd like to see lots of people fly. How many do we have? 2? 3? Okay. Well, we'll give them a few minutes to get here. We need... our judges for that, by the way, are going to be Jack Weston.
Hey, Jack!
Jack?
Hey!
Is he coming?
Yes.
Okay, and he'll have Prudence with him. And John Connolly, where are you? Right back there. So,
Hey, John!
all right. We'll set up...
Boy, like you, I'm not even quiet today.
9:30 back there, so get your airplanes back there by 9:30. We're also running ladies basic flight. As soon as the circle opens up, ladies, where are you?
Sandy Bruce.
All right, the ladies aren't here yet. We'll do this announcement again later. We could use a couple of volunteers to judge ladies basic flight.
Midgley will judge. He likes what? Midgley and Lampion, what a combination. They're both ladies, man.
Okay.
I got volunteer.
Are we gonna have 3 judges?
No. Two.
Yeah, Wendy volunteered.
I'm a news reporter for Iraq.
So judges, it's up to you. As soon as the circle is free, you gather the ladies.
Oh, it's gonna be
I think you can do.
Round them up, cowboy.
Okay, Junkyard Wars. I believe we have all 12 teams.
Junkyard Wars.
Outfit Lou Ward has that. He's got Bob Brookins' old outfit.
Before we get started with Junkyard Wars this afternoon, like a copy of the rules. I'm gonna leave them here.
So you're gonna do Junkyard Wars?
Okay?
No, we're not doing. I gotta get the rules.
We're gonna use Tyson's new play.
I gotta get the rules. I gotta go by. I said we'd use this tradition.
We'll use that one you crashed yesterday.
We had a question the other day. Can we use
Lampion's
bladders?
junkyard.
You got a junkyard.
No bladders. Sorry.
You doesn't have a bladder?
We also
No
have some judges for Junkyard Wars. I would like at least 1 or 2 judges that don't necessarily fly.
Nah, Wendy.
Nah.
Concourse. You not gonna fly?
So if you're too shy
That's for sure.
to do this,
I know
right now in front of the crowd, come and see me and let me know to be a judge for Junkyard Wars. That will start after ladies' basic flight or possibly during the same time.
On the same circle.
I nominate Tom Morris to judge that.
Sounds like a plan to me. Thank you, Tom.
Now we can shoplift his stuff while he's judging. We can all steal his bell cranks while he's out judging.
Someone out of the audience to help decorate your airplane, and we will impound all of the junkyard entries until tomorrow night when you get to fly them.
Yeah.
So no cheating will happen. You can't
NASCAR
take back
garage.
your hotel room and modify it.
Put him in Sandy Bruce.
So it will all be confiscated. And I think that, wait, I have one more.
Oh, God.
In case your team does not have a name, we have a list of names that you can choose from. You could be Team Crash, spelled like MASH.
That'll be Lampion's.
Team Chaos, Gas House Gorillas, the Rat Bastards, Fruit Loops, Air Boredom, the Republican Guard, Low Self S Team, the 20 Mule Team, TV Hilfiger. For you locals, you could be the Monongahela Monsters, or the one that everyone seems to like is Team of Wheat. So if your team does not have a name, please come and see us, and we'll appoint you a name. So I'll turn this back over to Alan.
The name of the last team was over your cholesterol also.
It keeps you regular.
That's right. Appearance points this evening that time will be announced. It will be done in the front. Please bring only the airplanes that you're flying. Now, for those who are not, if you're not building the model rules, you don't have to put them out there, but you just have to let us know about you, and so we'll put the correct number there. Static judging for scale is going to be done this afternoon, and we'll announce that time. Static judging will start, so we're going to try to get the lighting so it's all the same, get you started earlier than appearance points. Any questions? Be friends, fly safe, have a great day. Yes, Tom?
Roy Transman and I are doing
Yes.
7:30 in the garage tonight.
Yeah, 7:30 in the garage, Roy Transman and Tom Dixon, the engine tuning, and also after that, Bob Brookins is doing a paint demo.
Did I leave a battery with you guys last night? I'm missing a battery.
In it.
There's one in, no, and the other
2 in there.
No, but I'm still missing one.
No, it was
I had
just,
4 altogether when I got here.
it was just those 2 and that one. And didn't give me another one.
Okay, that means it's either the top of the hill, I left it over in a sock or something.
Yeah, you see.
Hey, that looks nice.
Yeah, happy with it.
All right, now you got some footage on that tape?
That's all of Tom's thing.
Okay, because you're hired to do it again tonight. What do you do? Just do the back end, the rudder and that?
Yeah, we split the fuse. It's a pretty good mess.
Ready to fly again, no problem. You got Henry to set your needle. What could be bad? The world's a beautiful place.
Only fly better than that.
Well, as I said before, he's an eco opportunity crasher. If he doesn't crash by mechanical failure, he was piling everything.
He's crashed every airplane he owns.
We're going to try to set it up
At least one.
without him knowing it, that when it's his official flight, we're going to take his handle off. To start Friday morning's rounds, getting the water out of the tents. Hey! Hey, save that water. That's bottled water. They sell that as bottled water in PA. Hey, good looking. This man is a liar. He does not return calls. Man accuses me of not returning calls. Can you imagine? Anyway, we're going to go pitch Midgley's props. And we're going to come out here, shoot some flights. Oh, Lou Woolworth's flying. Pop, pop, pop. Let me show you a good trick. Take a ruler. You can see why it's wrong. Run a ruler from this dimension frontwise and top. Those two dimensions, you'll get that hippity. I'll be gone, believe me. Well, I just open up the reel hub so you get a lot of slop.
Tell me what you think about that slop.
That's about right for me.
Okay.
If you think I'm kidding, go to the B-25 later and feel the wheels.
I'm not doubting any of you.
When I say something is true, it's always true, except you got to get people to believe you. That's the hard part. They always think you're trying to screw them.
I had never heard that before, but I had a plane that had this problem, so it wasn't anything.
Yeah. Oh, it'll make the taxiing real nice. It'll be a lot of fun taxiing it that way, believe me. And look, the proof is in the pudding. If I'm wrong, you know, you got me right here. You can give me the bada bing. So Midgley tells me to meet him here with the prop gauge, and he's not here. Oh, there he is, outside.
What I need is a long straight edge. You know where John
off out at the other edge.
And this one here needs to be turned a little
Right. And also the straight up and down, because if they're off, you know how like you have caster and camber?
Right.
So look at that one's off a mile. And I'll bet she'll taxi like a baby carriage. And you'll be thinking, man, I better send Wendy a $20 bill or a pizza or something. Well, that's the part they never seem to figure out.
Tell them.
No, this'll work. It really will work.
Meet me at the Golden Corral.
Yeah. I don't think so. No, it'll work. This will really work.
I believe you. Well, I know when I first built this plane, the landing gear I made for it was so good, when I greased this thing in, the wheels would squeal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then one day I was flying the damn thing, and my downline broke, and it should have ended up back in kit form, but it didn't. The landing gear was never the same. It kept trying to go back to that position.
Right.
Made new landing gear, it was never right. It hasn't been right since then.
See, because if you figure the geometry, as this moves through its arc, if this is off a little bit, it's doing this through the whole, just like a wheel alignment on a car.
Well, another guy from our club just showed up, and he was saying, well, that's why I use swivel tail gear. Swivel tail gear kind of influences.
Does that swivel?
No.
I don't have any. I have one plane with a swivel tail. It didn't make any difference at all. The gear, getting the gear right, what's nice when they're right is you can land the plane fast.
Yeah.
And it'll stay on the ground. When it's like this, as soon as it hits, it
and, you know, there's irregularities in it.
Yeah, of course,
Exaggerating the whole thing.
Yeah, of course.
So.
Well, this is an easy thing to fix. I'm glad you know, this is something, plus other people see it, maybe they'll figure it, scale guys or whatever. Seems like scale guys never figure this out until the plane's already painted and buffed out and... Yeah, see, that's the real errant one.
It's got to come out.
Now, if you really had a 4-foot ruler, you could kind of run the trajectory of the lines. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're really a fanatic, you can do it with a string. Put a string 70 feet away, put a nail here, tie it, and then you can figure that out. But that's certainly close enough. It's going to be better than it was.
Where is his bike? No, actually.
I got this on all the prop videos. This Dave's drilling out the prop. There, we just dropped part of it. It's a little gauge. Give me that prop so we can show how we can make it.
I did.
Put the screw through it.
Tight against the wheels to begin with, and I drilled them out yesterday, and I drilled them out more today, and several people have suggested I check alignment with a straight edge, so I pulled all the struts off so I could do that.
That worked. Yeah.
So
now hold it up to the light.
I don't doubt that you guys are right. I just, you know.
Let me just get with the camera and see if you can see. If you see under the front of the prop, you have more pitch. And the back, you have less pitch. And we have this, for more information, just get a copy of the prop video. That's easy to do. And we got another gauge for this is for the B-25 props, when they have the ether props. Each one of them, and every time you change the pitch, you just simply change the little piece of plywood that's glued on the edge, and you can change that infinitely or sand it. Dave's drilling out his last prop. We're going to pitch up his volley props. He's got 2 to do. And we're going to see the Sky Raider do some touch and goes this afternoon without doing the bunny hop.
The low rider.
Oh, we were doing low rider on you yesterday. Low rider.
Something about low rider. I know. What are they talking about?
Well, you know those cars in California the Mexicans have, and
at first
they bounce up and down and say, yeah, that's what this looked like. Low rider.
If you had the foam instead of these rubber, it wouldn't bounce as bad.
I just took this out.
What
used to have in there was carpet padding. I bought new wheels, and Robart sells this stuff, and this is a lot firmer than the carpet padding.
I believe just the regular foam wheels.
How about just ordinary wheels? I mean, you know,
I know he's
Dave Brown wheels. Yeah, of course.
Well, without this stuff in there, these are going to be way softer.
You know what you could do with these too? Fill it up with silicone seal. Just pry it open with your finger, put silicone seal in it.
That's kind of the same thing you do with
Because at this point, you're not worried about a quarter of an ounce of weight.
Right.
When you're out there bombing these guys, low riding around a circle, who cares about a quarter of an ounce?
I love what I'm about to tell you. It was one day out at our club field. I was trying to drop the bombs at a certain point, and they didn't release right on time.
The judges are the part I'm thinking of here.
My son bending over his plane in the pit area, and one of these bombs nailed him square in the butt. Square in the butt. I couldn't have done it again if I tried.
Is this a father-son relationship you guys can live with?
Yeah.
Hey, son, launch my plane.
He was my bombardier. He'd load it back up for me. And
well, my friend Les Demet, he's back to room. He had a sunburn yesterday. He's building a stunt Sky Raider. And we've been accumulating all his documentation and making plans and books. He's got books and magazines and even that video of We Were Soldiers.
Oh, yeah?
There's a lot of Sky Raider footage in there, yeah.
Well, I've got some pretty, what I think is some pretty decent documentation.
And he's got all the books, the scale books, that show the different variations.
Missing a hub. How could it be missing a hub?
Hey, you got one there?
That's
the inner or the outer?
That's the outer hub.
I had to turn the saw on.
Doesn't have to be fancy, just make a cut in the middle. It's the distance from the end that's critical. Gonna make a little impromptu prop pitch gauge. You can see how many times I've changed the pitch on this prop. 20. Now you want to drill a hole so that an inch of the prop sticks out. You can use mine, but this will be. But if you were doing 12-inch props, you want 1 inch of the prop to stick off the ends. So just drill that hole for a jet. It's a 1/4 inch. For his, it's doesn't matter because you don't have to be that accurate. You're getting this all balanced up, taking the material off the back of the blade, radius the edges. Check that the blades are the same length. The piece of wood has a hole in it so we can put a piece of 1/4 28 rod. And by the way, this is just to make a real quick summary. I don't ever use any gauge other than this. I never use the one where they do every station. It's very nice if you want to do that, but the one that really counts is out at the end of the tip.
3 inches would be plenty.
Plenty, more than enough. Then just bolt your prop in and put this piece at 0. Then as you want to change it, put another one on the end. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can, and by varying this even a 64th of an inch, you'll change the speed of the plane. We're doing it very, very carefully then. And you can check that all 3 blades are the same. Put the screw through there.
Let's tighten it down so I don't have one less thing to hold.
It's actually nice. You see this little piece of, where's the other gauge?
Right there's a gauge and there's a gauge.
See, this little piece of plywood gives you more of a thing. So if you have a piece of 64th before you put it on, but what that'll do, that'll raise this edge up. So you got to put this piece on first.
Let's do that then.
Yeah, put a piece, just make another piece of this. All it does is it gives you a flatter surface that it's not wandering.
Yeah, more of a base.
Right. Now another thing you could do, because you're Mr. Line Wrapping King here and you're always looking for new little products to do, you could come up with a gauge, piece of motor mount. If somebody wanted a gauge, say for a Rojet 65, you could this would be a good starting point. You can always start where the other guy left off instead of starting at, when I started, I bought 25 propellers,
threw
24 away, You know, yeah, why start at ground zero when guys have already crossed the Atlantic, you know? Lindbergh's already been there. You don't have to be fancy. I know you're a meticulous guy, but a gauge like this will save you hundreds of hours of just weight and money throwing props away that don't work, overpitched and underpitched. And in Dave's case, that's what we need, because we don't know from one day to another where that prop is going to be. And then if you get a prop that works real good in hot weather, you got a hot weather prop, cold weather, drill the same hole in it. It's a lot better than, this is so much better than, hey, somebody's got a phone. Oh, is that gonna build a sewer with that or something? Watch you don't glue your hand to the part here too. Probably when you do hardwood, you're better off with thick CA.
God, this thing is
Out of balance? Well, they're sold as unbalanced props. It's not like you got one that...
No, I know. I'm gonna be sanding on this thing forever.
At least it's fun. Look at it that way.
Yeah, we're doing this for fun, remember.
Al's got a ring jig for sale. Is that what this is, a ring jig?
The Justo jig, don't you remember that?
No, I don't.
Rick Campbell had one of these. You can build dihedral in the wing.
Yeah, I see. That's pretty cool. How do you build a B-25 wing on that? You need to cut it and glue it and... Okay, now when you glue the end piece on, make sure you glue it on the right end, of course.
Well, that's why I put the
I know. President Nixon calling Kent Dicer. President Nixon here. Okay.
President Clinton.
Now, when you put this on, you want to just get it so it's touching. Both, you want to get the angle. Once you get the angle, glue it. Put a little thick CA here, and then you got a couple. Get the prop even with the end. There you go. I'll hold it. It's a lot cheaper than a Prather gauge too, huh?
Yeah.
Not that anybody in the world of control on snow would ever be on an economy kit.
I like this one.
No, we're all big spenders, boy, every one of us. Okay, there you go. Just let it dry. Now you got ground zero. And it doesn't mean that that's the final setting you'll ever use, but now you got something that's ground zero you can come back to, you know? Mm-hmm. Okay, and you know how to use it? Now let's make one up for Dave. Just make a don't say this word, carbon copy. Make a copy of this for Dave. Mark yours so we know which is yours. We're all set. Only when we put this on, we'll put it on for the volley for the two blades. It'll have a little more pitch. And that's all she wrote.
Now you've made that for what pitch?
Saturday Night Live, Rich Jacobone is auditioning for the job of imitating Woody Midgley. Now here's the real Woody Midgley.
Never happened.
Here's the real Woody.
Where are we going for dinner tonight, Rich?
No. Where are we going for dinner?
Where are we going? This is Woody. I asked him. I says, Woody, you want to have dinner with us? He said to me, who are you having dinner with? I said, Wendy and some of the other guys. Oh, I can't eat dinner with him. Oh, he eats his shit.
Oh, Woody! You bastard! You liar!
I don't need an answer.
Oh my!
Oh,
man!
And that's what he said.
May you never pull test my plane again!
Never happened.
Oh!
I can't have dinner.
I can't eat with Wendy.
Oh, he eats his shit.
Remember, Dave, we were telling, I won't mention his name, but it's Jeff Stiefel. He had a 13-inch prop, and I said, the blades are uneven. One's a little longer than the other. And they weren't. It was a perfect prop. So he goes and checks them, and he doesn't check it the way you should, but he puts a ruler here, and he says, yeah, this one's a little thinner. This one's shorter, that one. By the time he got done trimming it, it was a 10-6. Then I showed him the gauge, where you put the bolt in and the tape on the end of the gauge. Oh, man.
Poor Jeff.
He couldn't believe it. My prop.
Poor Jeff.
At least he didn't make fun of me eating like Woody. Don't get it too hot. Once you can't touch it, it's fine. If you can touch it, it's not hot enough. 165 degrees is the temperature it melts at. Most people can touch things up to about 120, without crying, but... Okay, now use the rag.
130.
Use the rag to hold it, because 120 is scalding, I don't know.
120, 130.
Okay, bend it back. You got to go quick. And work it. Start in here and work your way out. Don't just, or you'll put a kink in it. Give it a, like that. Okay. Now, put it up on the gauge. See where you are on the gauge. Did you go too far or not enough? Okay, put it back while it's still hot. Just, you can do this infinitely. You can do it over and over. And you're gonna, it's better to do it 4 or 5 times. Let it cool and then get it right. Because sometimes when it cools, it'll have a memory. And a month later, you do it again. Every once in a while, do it, depending on how much you fly. But now you have an infinitely variable powertrain. You can go higher, you can go faster, slow, without ever touching the needle valve. And this is good practice for you. Get this, we'll go fly the plane and then see which way you want to go. Now you have a square one, and you're able to adjust it infinitely, so it's really worth something.
It's got to be here someplace. They've got to be, but I can't find them.
We do with the props, and we really should do. See how they come from Bali, they're smooth here? Well, when you got to put a washer and nut here, they tend to slip or you have to over-tighten them. Of course, the back plate here will eventually grind its way in, but if you take a file, the best thing is an engraving tool, a Dremel tool, and just a file and roughen this up. The rougher this hub is, the better it is. And then what I would do is, where's Kent? Write on here, Kent, number 1 through 3, so you can identify and put that in your notebook. Because what good is having a bag of props if you don't know which is which? Like, see this one, he's got Calm Air written on. What else? But you should have the notes written right on the props. Yeah, just the rougher you can make that, the better it's going to be. Okay, are you the guy that knocked on the door?
It wasn't me.
Okay.
It was Kent. I thought, hey, Kent, go do it.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Want to buy some sunscreen? You know, lobster fishing is illegal in Pennsylvania. All right, and we're out here today. We're going to do the same thing we did yesterday, bounce from circle to circle. Try to get everybody on if possible. We've got Dave and Woody ready to start on their little pitch and prop thing going on. We want to see if Father Regis is out of the hospital yet. He had an unfortunate accident yesterday. And we had fun in the restaurant last night. We went to Hartley's Inn, and the Lampione table was not far away, and we had the manager go over and holler at them for being rowdy and loud. And they took it like gentlemen that they are. We really had a good time. The girls at the Hartley Inn really played along with our scam. And then we locked Bob Lampione in the bathroom. That was another thing that was fun. Whoops. And this circle is Neil Beekman, and we catch him in the middle of his inverted flight. Neil is one of he received an award last year for some of the volunteer work he did as a retired fireman on 9/11. Right after 9/11, he volunteered a considerable amount of his own personal time. And we really take our hats off to Neil. He's one of the true heroes. Glad to see him flying. Glad to see him at Brodak's again, having a great time. Now, we heard the weather report that big thunder showers are headed this way, so we're hoping we get at least one round in. And they're going to do the appearance judging tonight. I hope you've been enjoying these little excerpts of appearance judging. I always hear from people that want to hear about who's in the front row, who's in the second row, how did this work out, how did that work out. Well, if I see the battery light on, we got to go switch batteries here. Neil will catch you on the second round. All right, we're back to the sheet. Whoops, something's going on here. Not sure what's going on. Really cool looking plane with dihedral and anhedral and tails raised up and He's going to have us an exciting flight here. Here's one of the planes we have on our model railroad, a Vico Chief. We have exactly that paint job on the railroad too. The Vico Chief.
All right, Willis. What do you want to handle?
Yeah, I gotta go again since I took the temps.
I don't think you're going to find it as heavy as you might think. I think once you get that cleaned off, you're going to find this airplane as heavy.
Well, that's one reason why I took that cover weight off. It's so heavy.
No windy jokes, he's close at hand.
That's a 32-year-old magician.
Jim's so heavy, he'd be proud. He wishes he was 32 years old again.
Spent 20 years in the crawl space.
Benedetti from our club here, putting in a flighting classic. Doug's world famous for his use of ignition engines. He is one of the most knowledgeable people. He's an auto mechanic, so that helps, I'm sure. Rather than being a florist or something, it wouldn't really help. Always willing to help somebody at the club field if they have a motor problem, a tank problem. One of the really nice guys in our club. I think it's safe to say everybody in our club has been good. We've enjoyed each other's interaction for, in my case, 30 years. Great club to belong to. One of 4 that I belong to. Nice flying Brodak Oriental. Where's your plane? Oh no! What's it doing in the barn? Is it a cow? I wouldn't miss this for the world, Jimmy. Come on, Bobby, sink one in here, baby. Give him a
Lampione.
I don't know what we should do. A Lampione flight. Soon to be known as a Lampione flight. What a weird looking hat. It's not a hat, that's his head. Bob, just knowing all your friends are here rooting for you, put you over the top on that wing over pull out.
Alright.
When did I do mine?
You want me to set the net up, Bob?
No. Henry, he'll pay you not to set it this time.
Can we buy a moment?
I'm going to set it. When he's walking out to the handle, let me know. I'll go over there and tweak it for him.
Can we buy a moment of silence from Bob?
Let's give him a tune pipe ride. I think your time's up. Next. Field hog. He knows the air's perfect now. He's going to waste it.
I won't waste it.
Oh, man.
There we go.
All right. Good luck, Bobby.
Thank you, sweetheart.
After the club, we'll moon us all.
No, not before we eat, please.
Yeah. Let's have lunch first.
All right, kids.
Hey, we don't say that on video.
Yeah, okay.
Bob Lampione, 1969 national champion, concourse winner. Possibly the most frugal guy in the event. Takes pride in not paying for things. What else can we say about Bob? We used to call him Bobby D for Discount Lampione. Beautiful looking plane, nice paintwork, there's all of Bob's stuff. It's a Tom Morris Cavalier. I'm not sure how much of it he built, if it was a kit or a pre-kit, or Tom sells them in various stages of construction. This is a little Aero Tiger 36, nice little motor run. I've heard, in fact we were talking about at breakfast, Bob's making a copy of his 1969 match-winning Sabre. Not quite finished yet, it's in the paint stage, and he's doing the final little buffing and putting silver on it. We're all looking forward to seeing that fly. I think that has a Rojet 40, but I'm not sure. And Bob also has a big plane, a full-size Pattern Master size plane that he's building for one of the big Rojets. I think a 65, but it may be a 61. It's a full-size one anyway. And so he's got a lot. He's got a new house that he's living in, a new apartment, a nice big workshop, and looking forward to seeing some of his new creations, because he is a good builder. And always a lot of fun in the restaurant when you can lock them in the bathroom. I wonder how many people in the history of Hartley Inn have been locked in the bathroom. Bob might be the only one. I'm not sure. We'll have to ask the waitress tonight. Country's an expert here. Expert nostalgia.
The first T-bird I built 12 years ago.
Certainly, if you had a concourse award, this would be one of the contenders. This is Jimmy Borelli's, and this is beautifully finished. Absolutely beautiful. Nice color choice. Up 6 line with 234 in the back here. We're not going to get a good shot because we're not going to go up there till a little bit later. We'll do the lower circles first, but we will get up there for sure.
Like 62 by points. A little comfortable. I didn't kiss the ground anywhere, Windy. I didn't kiss the ground anywhere.
I got it on video, I know. I'm waiting. I'm like a vulture waiting to see if he's going to kiss the ground.
Make sure you get that.
The whole rudder.
Bobby's got a home runner after a flight. My reputation is beginning to precede me, that's for sure. Along with your stomach. Along with my stomach, yes.
Don't worry, you don't need to wear a name badge. Everybody knows who you are. One way or the other. Jokes now?
No. He's a baby man.
No windy jokes. What's happening, guys?
Hey, what? They said you're the guy to ask a paint question to you.
Cosmo out here from Japan, flying is humongous with a Stalker 40. Beautiful plane. His friend, and I don't know his friend's name, he flies very well. I'm not sure. I think he's one of the people that's on the F2B team with Kaz.
I ran a box on 16. For 3 years, I never heard of Yukon. Good. We were running 18 all the time in it, with either 5 or 10%. You don't have it anymore. I don't know where the hell it's not like
We've had other foreigners here from England, from several other countries, from Australia, I believe. I think this is the first time that the Japanese have been here, but we certainly give them a big round of applause. Good to see them. And these are 2 of the 3 best flyers in the world right here. Yeah. Am I out of your way here? I think Kaz won old-time stunt with this, or classic, whatever. No, old-time stunt was yesterday. Kaz Minato from Japan. All right, Kazzy! Hey! This guy here takes his win over. At the end of this tape, so we will see you on the next.
So that's kind of why I think I know a little bit about how to trim an airplane. And I don't win everything, don't practice enough, but I think, my ability probably speaks for itself, hopefully. What I see in a lot of people's airplanes up here in the local contest is your performance could be much, much better, even for just fun flying, with observing a few basic things that a lot of people just get wrong. Partly because they've been following the plans that have been published since the 50s, related to control systems and lead-out sweep and any other things that here in the 2000s or in the 1990s, we didn't know the criteria they were using in the 50s. Like one of the things I found out many years ago from Joe Wagner, who was the chief engineer for VICA when all those kits were produced, the control linkage, and any of you remember go back that far, and the Smoothie and the Thunderbird, you got a 3-inch metal bell crank. It put the push rod in the inside hole, and it kept gaining speed all the way back. Well, most guys of that era flew with a 4-inch Easy Just, and you always see in these kind of pullouts. Well, I found out from Joe Wagner they used 2 1/4-inch line spacing in VICO. Makes all the difference in the world. That control system was set up for the handles they built, the lines came out between the fingers. And we don't know that. Too many people have been trying to make stuff work that's not physically tuned to the human neurological system. So part of what I'm after is trying to make something very easy to fly, very smooth flying, and flies well under contest conditions, because the other thing that happens when we get to a contest, unless you've got a lot of experience, and nobody's got that much, your heart speeds up, your adrenaline gets going, your nervous system is faster, and the airplane you flew perfectly well at home is now doing this. Because everything is speeded up, and you're trying hard to do those pullouts, and sure enough, here they go like this. So let me go through kind of an overview of how I trim an airplane, and I'm going to start by actually talking about the control system that I use. I just finished this Smoothie last Saturday, flew it for the first time Sunday, and I'll talk about step by step what I've done so far with it, and also some comments about some features on the Avanti. I'm not here to show off the airplanes, but to show off some things on there that you need to see. One of the things that is a basic criteria for me with most of my control systems, all of them in fact, is I'm looking for, at the handle, about 45 degrees up and down movement to about 30 degrees elevated. That's pretty slow. That's a lot of lead-out movement. That for me works. Other people that fly even slower systems, that allows me to hit a corner hard and the airplane just lays there. It's very hard to over-control it. The Smoothie control system uses a 3-inch bell crank, Tough Light 3-inch bell crank, or the Brodak 3-inch bell crank, which are identical, nylon bell crank. Push rod is in the insidemost hole of the bell crank. Goes to a 1-inch long horn from the axis of the control system to 1 inch up, and then it's 3/4 inch to 3/4 inch, so I've got a 1-to-1 ratio on here.
You say, is that the 2-hole bell crank or the
3-hole? 3-hole. The SIG bell crank has got 2 holes. You need to drill a hole further in, about 5/8 of an inch off the center of the pivot of the bell crank. And as you can see, there's a fair amount of lead-out movement here, but not a huge amount of elevator movement. And I don't know if any of you saw this airplane flying today and how it turns your corner, but it'll practically turn you on over end. That's the same control system I use in a 60 size airplane, except I use the same 1-inch horns, except they're 1/8 inch wire instead of 3/32 wire. I use the 4-inch bell crank, John's Brodak's 4-inch nylon bell crank, which is by no means the most expensive on the market. However, it has several advantages. One, it's the lightest on the market. Number 2, the nylon material that he's used for these was chosen specifically to be self-lubricating. I don't bush the holes in the end of the bell crank for these cable lead-outs. I just loop it through, crimp it down, solder it for double protection. The original time machine that I built in '96, probably has 2,500 flights on it, and you can't tell any wear on the lead outs. One of these days it may saw through, but it's been going strong ever since. And that's without that's just with the lead out cable, solvent cable lead outs, lived through the belt crank, and some motor oil put on the end of the cables to keep from, galling the nylon. So very slow ratio system, not very expensive. You don't have to have a $12 belt crank to fly an airplane. John's products work perfectly well. I use my own metal horns, which I have made for me by Robin Hearn, Model Racing Products in Australia, because I bought a lot of other stuff from him. And they have also, that's another point, I'll get back to this in a minute, the wire in the horns that I sell is strong enough to take the flight loads, but you can tweak it, you can bend it, and it'll stay there. If you need to have an airplane turning tighter one way or the other, you need to correct it, you can bend the flaps, or bend the elevators down, or whatever, and correct the turn, and it'll stay there. Music wire horns won't do that. And you like to tear the airplane up trying to bend them. Use 1/8 inch in the big airplanes, 3/32 in the little airplanes. Other people, I don't know if anybody else is selling horns that have that feature with the wire. I honestly don't know. Maybe they are. But those are the ones I put in my kits. Those are the ones that I use. Now, the trimming steps that I go through, that I went through with this airplane, first thing, get the 4.5 CG correct. Usually there's a CG mark on the plan most of the time. If not, what I go by is basically the high point of the airfoil. That's just a basic ballpark to start from. If you're behind the high point, I guarantee you're going to be tailheaded, no matter what kind of airplane you're flying. If it's at the high point or a little ahead, it's usually flyable through a pattern. Then it's a matter of adjustment to what feels right for you. I don't do anything very fancy to balance the airplane. I pick it up, put my fingertips where the CG is supposed to be, and just, if it stays there, fine. If it falls a little nose heavy, that's fine. If it's tail heavy, I'll add, usually for flight trimming, infinitely adjustable weight modeling clay. Just $2.50 per pound of modeling clay from Toys R Us or any other toy store. Tear off some, knead it up in your hands till it gets soft. Stick it on the outside of the nose, or the tail, or wherever you need it, until you get the airplane flying the way you want it. But get the 4.5 CG right first. Second thing is, of course, the lateral CG. Every airplane is different. This airplane was designed in 1952. It's got a 2-inch longer inboard panel and a 2-inch longer flap. This airplane was designed, the original version of it was designed in the 80s. It's got a 1-inch longer inboard panel. Both flaps are the same length. The idea behind the 2-inch longer panel, they thought back in the 50s, was you needed that extra length as the airplane flew around the circle to make it back to the outside and help keep the lines tight. One of the things they forgot is basic aerodynamics is every time you make lift, you make drag. So anytime you add lift to the inboard panel to keep the lines tight, you're yelling the nose towards you. You can't make lift without drag. It just doesn't happen. It's just basic aerodynamics. So one of the problems these type airplanes have, the 2-inch longer flap and 2-inch longer panel, and particularly the flap, is they tend to roll right and yaw left every time you deflect the control. Any of you that ever saw my Thunderbird on VSC with back in '91, 2-inch longer panel, 2-inch longer flap, had a clear plastic tab about 1 inch wide, about 4 inches long, inset into the trailing edge of the flap to equalize the flap areas. In the air you couldn't see the tab, but the air could see it. So every time you deflected the controls, you didn't get this stuff. That airplane was almost unflyable without the tab on it. But with a 2-inch longer inboard panel, what you generally want is the airplane to balance on the center line of the fuselage. If you look at Bill Worley's Aries plans from the original plan that was in American Aircraft Modeler back in 1960, it said no tip weight. And I don't know what the updated 59 version that was recently in Model Aviation said or not. Does it say no tip weight? Right, because it's got a 2-inch longer panel and a 2-inch longer flap. What they found out back then is they needed the inboard wing heavy to compensate for the outboard roll with a 2-inch longer wing. I find that what you generally want, once again, 2-inch longer airplane, wing and flap. A lot of the old-time airplanes are like that, Smoothie, Thunderbird, many others. You want it to balance pretty much on the center line of the fuselage. Generally, that requires about a ½ ounce of weight in the outboard tip, depending on how heavy your inboard wing is and your lead outs and all that. This airplane does not have adjustable tip weight. That's how sure I was. That's what, if I needed it, I could cut it and put a patch on it, but I haven't needed the tip weight was right out of the box by using that formula of balancing on the center line. Well, you see on plans, you see a lot of articles, you say put in 1 ounce tip weight. That tells you nothing about how heavy your inboard wing is or how heavy your blocks are in your outboard tip. What I want to see, say you've got a 1-inch longer inboard panel, a Nobler. Many of the modern airplanes have a 1-inch longer inboard panel, 57 of them. Generally what you want to do is put the airplane, balance it by the spinner and the tail wheel upside down, because that's supposed to be grounded like that. Have it put a scale over here, let the outboard wing fall on the scale as you support the fuselage level with the scale, and you can see 1 ounce on the scale. Whatever weight it takes to get there. And that's a starting place. You may want to take some out, may want to put some in. 1-inch offset, 1 ounce on the scale. Rule of thumb to start with before you ever get it in the air. Don't try to fly it with less than that, or it'll be coming at you. Equal panel airplane, at least 2 ounces on the scale. Time Machine, I think the Legacy is equal panels if I'm not mistaken. I think on most of Randy Smith's airplanes, the SV11 series, I believe the inboard panel is a ½ inch longer, so it'd be about 1.5 ounces. So it's about a 1-to-1 relationship. 1 ounce for 1 inch, 2 ounces for 2 inches as a starting place. Insufficient tip weight is dangerous. The airplane will come at you. Too much tip weight doesn't do anything except make the airplane drop the outboard tip when it goes through maneuvers. And you're not going to really hurt anything that way except your stores and cockpit. Any questions about tip weight so far? Anything?
You mentioned weight in the outboard wing.
Yeah.
Just for weight inboard and get the tip on.
Well, not that I know of. I just pick it up when it drop on the scale. Because it's a quick and dirty way to do it, and that compensates when you can have super light blocks outboard and heavy blocks inboard, as long as you end up in the right place. Or I've built airplanes that ended up with a solid block outboard, a hollow inboard, and had to put weight on the inboard wing to get that differential. So if I started out putting weight in the airplane, I've been having to dig into it to take stuff out. So go by the differential. By the way, you do this before you come to the airplane, because in case you have to make any changes, it's easy to fix at that point. Don't wait until the airplane's completely built. In terms of flying, once you get it out there, get the modeling clay out. And if you've taken all the weight out of your weight box and it's still too heavy outboard, put some clay on the inboard wing until you get it flying the way you want. Take it out, weigh it, make a hole, glue the weight in. Put a lead weight, same weight in it. Same way with the clay, get the airplane flying, nose weight, tail weight, whatever you need. Take it out, weigh it, glue a piece of lead in the airplane. The same weight. Lead out position. This is the biggest thing I see people have a problem with. Partly because there are articles that were written in the 70s that keep getting quoted over and over and over and are wrong. Al Raby, who's a fantastic modeler, fantastic builder, fantastic flyer, once said in the Mustang article in 1970 or 71, whenever it came out, he made the comment, and to improve overhead tracking, I moved the lead outs forward. Now, if you look at Al's plans for his airplanes, the lead outs start out back here. And that's true. If you move the lead outs forward from there, it will improve overhead tracking in line tension about 45 degrees, because the airplane's not flying sideways through the air. But what happens, and you'll see it on a lot of airplanes out here, guys having trouble with overhead tension? Oh yeah, they say move the lead outs forward. And you see the lead outs up here, and the thing's floating on the lines everywhere. Now, what I do, and interestingly, most of the old plans, the old Top Flight and Obler plans, most of the old kit plans have the lead outs in the right position, glued in, because the guys have built enough airplanes to know where it's supposed to be, and that's what the way the plans were drawn, and the position. What you're after is about a 2 to 3 degree nose drop when you hang the airplane on the lead outs. And this doesn't have to be particularly scientific. May not be but about 2 degrees, whatever. You can make a little bevel and put a spirit level on it and, keep moving the lead outs until you get that position. Quick and dirty is close enough. As long as it hangs about like that, you're going to be all right on this size airplane with 15,000 lines. Same thing on a big airplane with 18,000 lines because the wings are longer. It's got more weight. It's going to pull the bow out of the lines more. Now, Woody, thankfully, offered his airplane with the sailor in it because we were talking about it this afternoon. You don't have to focus all the way on. I'll just put it back. Now, Woody, tell us what the symptoms you're having with this thing was. I don't mean to pick on you, but you volunteered.
No, I understand that. The original airplane started, it's a carbon fiber wing, stabilizer, flaps and elevators with a wooden body. It started out as a Super Tiger 60, flew very well. Then I got a Sato 72 and put it in, and it crashed a year ago. So that body is another wood body, which is 1.25 inches shorter than the one with a Super Tiger 60 because of the additional weight. It flew for the first time last weekend. It flew fairly well with a person by the name of Rick Campbell, who's very good in the New England area. But he was the type of guy that flies small airplanes and he likes to fly with his fingers. Well, you can't fly that many fingers on side. That takes somebody with an arm. His only comment